So let's move on to getting your research noticed. And the first thing is that you need to be proactive. Think about the barriers to other people knowing about your research. And by other people, I mean policymakers, legislators, pressure groups, etc. So that there are at least 3 barriers to people knowing about your research. One is the cost of locating it. So if it's on open access, well, you've eliminated the cost. But can the research be easily found? Even if it's on open access, how would anyone know it's there? If it's not on open access, then of course there's the cost of the article. The second thing is the length of the piece. We're conditioned in academia to write articles of around between 8,000 and 10,000 words. But most of the time, the people with who you might want to get your research out to haven't got the time or indeed the inclination to read 8,000 to 10,000 words. They want something brief. And the third thing is, and I don't mean this in a patronizing way, but the level of understanding. Academic articles are written for academic audiences with an assumption about the kind of things an assumption about the knowledge and understanding of the things we're talking about. Well, outside of academia, that might not exist. So in effect, just by relying on your articles existing, you're putting barriers in the way of people finding out about the interesting findings that you've produced. The cost, the length, the level of understanding. So you've got to be proactive. So what I've identified here are some ways in which you can get your research noticed, some of which will be statements of the blindingly obvious, but obviously there are some other ones that I think we can pick up on. So first and foremost, something most of us do, conference presentations. These are good because they help develop an identity of who we are, what we're about, but also can lead to recommendations from others. If someone's seen your paper, they get approached for some advice on a particular issue, and they say, well, I can't help, but you should talk to X. I saw her give a paper at a conference, it was excellent. You should go and speak with her. So conference presentations are really good. And some conferences, of course, attract outside stakeholders as well as academics. Secondly, information and stakeholder events. These are ones where either funding councils or government departments will set up events to talk about the new work that they're looking to fund or new work that they are interested in. And here, it's worth being proactive. Attend them, speak at them, and again, establish an identity in the area of someone who it's worth listening to. Thirdly, interact with other external influencers. So on any particular policy area, it won't just be academics trying to make a case. There'll be various pressure groups, think tanks, relevant industry bodies or charities. So it's worth working with them if you think that you can get your message across alongside them or use them to get your message across. Make them aware of the research. Like policymakers, they'll always be interested in new work, particularly if it tallies with their view of the world.